And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Nando.
And Rob.
All right, so this topic is going to be why women don't get approached by men, or at least not as much.
Why don't men approach women? It still happens, but it's happening far less. Women are even saying this on social media, like, why aren't men approaching us anymore? Men aren't being men. So I wanted to shed some light on this. I think this is an excellent topic, especially in modern dating nowadays. Like, this is like a dynamic that has recently changed, and I think we should really address it. So you want to go first? Like, why don't men, boys, teenagers, whoever, like 21, why aren't men approaching women anymore?
Huge thing right now, huge phenomenon. And you want to know what that phenomenon is? Technology. When everybody's looking down at their iPhone, you're at work looking at your iPhone. You're walking around looking at your iPhone. You're in the park looking at your iPhone. In the club looking at your iPhone. You're on the phone. Like it never ends. There's no personal contact in public with men, between men and women. So what are men to do? I mean, if they can't even get eye contact from you, there's no shot. You need that connection. You need that first, well, we connected. We looked at each other's eyes. I mean, usually that's how it goes in public. You look at each other's eyes, you connect via eye contact, and then it goes from there. But
it's interesting. Traditionally, the main issue most guys had when it came to approaching women in public was fear of rejection, approach anxiety. They were scared to like come up and, say hello because they weren't sure if the girl would deny them or flip out on them or so on and so forth. We are in a completely different phenomenon now because, like you said, social media is definitely one of them because now we've shifted our focus. It's no longer like in-person interaction. Most people rely on they're on their phone, social media, dating apps. We're glued to our phone and we connect with people through our phone, and that's like how we get our endorphins going. And like, so that in itself is a major shift, right? I think people are interacting, sadly to say, more on social media side than in person. The second thing I think that's causing this to happen is that anytime you put effort into something, you're going to expect a result, right? I'll use the gym as an example. If you go to the gym and you're putting that effort into going to the gym 3 days, 4 days, five days a week, you're doing it with an intent in mind, and you want an outcome, right? Some people want to gain weight, some people want to lose weight, you want to gain strength, you want to gain endurance, what have you, but you're doing it with intent. You're putting effort into something with the idea of an outcome in mind. Nowadays, with the way things have changed and the way dating is now and just like the cultural shift around dating, cold approaching women is almost like, sadly to say, it's like an outdated concept. If you do that nowadays, you run the risk of like being called a creep, right? Rejection is still there, obviously. Women's standards nowadays, I think guys have just given up. Not all guys, but a lot of guys have given up on the idea of cold approaching and just approaching women in public because they understand that even average women or below average women have ridiculously high standards. So you're just going to say to yourself, like, am I going to put this effort in and take this risk with like a 0.001 chance of anything happening out of this?
well, this takes me into another reason why women don't get approached by men. And that is high risk and maybe a positive outcome. So high risk. You're a guy, you go up to a girl, innocently wanting to get to know this girl and eventually lead to asking her out on a date or just to meet up for a cup of coffee and then see where it goes from there. You go up to a girl nowadays and it's like, leave me alone. You're a creep. Don't bother me. I'm busy. And the guy right away rejected. It's like, why do men want to try? What's the reason for them to want to try? At that point, there is no reason for them to want to try. They give up.
Approach anxiety, fear of rejection. I think generally there's kind of this like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't pinpoint for you exactly which time this happened, but generally there's like a negative kind of like outlook against guys. More and more women kind of like have this like hatred towards men. So I don't think guys are even compelled to even like approach, because that old school romance, like, oh, guy approaches girl in bar, flirts, buys her a drink. Those days are long gone.
That's more of a false opportunity. When you go out and somebody tells you, oh, you can meet a girl at a bar or at the park walking your dog or at the supermarket or in the library. This is false opportunity. This is another reason why men don't approach women, at least as much as they used to.
And the second half to that is, let's just say you approach a woman at a bar and you do talk to her and like, you know, you go on a date or so on and so forth, you know, you meet up a few times. The second part to it is like, okay, so originally it's like, I have to approach her and talk to her and hopefully things go well. Let's just assume things do go well and you go on a few dates. The second part of it is that guys understand that like, what are most women going to do nowadays? You're gonna pay for a couple dinner dates. She's gonna stand around, you know, flirt with you just to like get what she wants out of it, right? Maybe some attention, some validation, a free dinner, and she's out.
Yeah.
So going back to what I originally said, it's like guys understand, like, if you're going to put effort into something, there has to be some kind of reward. There has to be some kind of outcome in the end. So between like that initial approach anxiety and, you know, dealing with that part of it, and then even knowing in the back of your head that even if you get to that point, so what, you take her on a date or you get her number or something. Nowadays it means nothing because she's already talking to 10 other guys. She already has 50 guys in her DMs. She's already got one guy in the friend zone, another guy buying her dinners, one guy that she's sleeping with, her ex is still hanging around. That's what kills the whole thing of it. There's no incentive anymore to really do it, I think.
She's already got a roster. You're just one of the many on the roster.
Yeah.
And if you're the guy that just met her, you happen to get lucky, you ran into her somewhere, maybe you met her through mutual friends, or you met at the supermarket, or you met just walking in public and you went on a date, but you took her out, you bought her dinner, maybe bought her drinks, maybe took her out for a fine evening at a club, and she didn't reciprocate that. Nothing happened from that. Cut her out. It's over. She doesn't like you. It's just what it is. And it's unfortunate to say. And women are going to say,
"How dare you?"
But it's true. It's true. Because why, as a woman, wouldn't you reciprocate those same feelings that a man is giving to you? So it just doesn't make sense.
And some women, like, they enjoy that rejection. It's like it feeds their ego. Like, oh, guys are hitting me, guys are approaching me. And I'm just like deflecting them and like, oh, please, like, get away. Interesting enough, I know a lot of online dating coaches will advise completely against not approaching women. They'll say the opposite. They'll say, well, no, by not approaching women, you're putting yourself in a disadvantage. It's an interesting kind of standpoint because what a lot of online dating coaches will say is, you should approach women, and the more women you approach, it's a numbers game, and the more women you approach, the better you'll get at it, and you have to approach women to get women. So it's an interesting thing because it's like a paradox. Like, as guys, we're in a situation where it's like we know that like you're gonna approach 10 women and get rejected 10 times, but at the same time, you have to approach women to meet women.
Absolutely. I mean, the more you try, the better the probability is of being able to attain a woman for a date or just to go out for coffee or whatever the case may be. You have to try. The thing is, though, that a lot of men now are just giving up. They're not trying because of all the things they're going through with these women. You get her number, you reach out to her, she doesn't text back, she leaves you on read. It really comes down to,
they know it's high effort, high risk, low reward. That's really like the easiest way to sum up what I'm trying to say is that why the original topic of this podcast is like, why don't guys want to approach women anymore? It's exactly that. That's the reason why. For guys, women maybe don't understand it because they're seeing it from like a female point of view, but I don't think women understand. Like, to go out into a public space and cold approach a woman, say hi, talk to her, get the fear of the embarrassment, the rejection, and even if you end up getting her number, meeting up with her, or her, now it's not even getting her number is like an old school way of looking at it. Nobody shares numbers anymore. Now it's like, she'll follow you, she'll follow herself from your social media page, and that's it. And then even if you go on a date, you could take her on many dates, take her out to eat, try to impress her. You would assume as a guy, the more effort you put into it, that you're gonna get something out of it, and maybe she'll see your value or worth or what have you. But that's the opposite's the case. You're gonna be putting all that effort in, and this is where the simping whole thing comes into play, right? Well, what is simping? It's like when you put a lot of effort into a girl and you go after her and she's not even interested in you. Nowadays, how do you even know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna meet up with a girl, go on a date with her, and and women are very good at it. They'll sit there and flirt with you, and like they know what they're doing. Like they'll do what they have to do to just keep your interest and tag you along just enough so they get what they want. Like, yeah, this guy's gonna take me out to eat, and then after he takes me out, pick me up, and we'll do something. It means nothing to them.
Of course, women will do what it takes to take advantage of the guy. Of course, guy is providing value, so they're going to get as much value from said man to be able to accomplish what they want for that time. Once they can't get that value off of that guy, they have another 10, 20 guys reaching out to them. Hey, let me take you out for dinner.
Women have so many options nowadays. And again, another thing that I think more and more guys are starting to kind of like take in and understand and accept. Women have so many options. They don't even know what to do with it. Like, women will say, well, yeah, we have a lot of options, but they're not good options. Oh, I'm sorry, Could you imagine, like, we know we have unlimited options, but they're not good options. That's what happens. It's like, as human beings, the more we have of something, we start to kind of like, it gets diluted. We're like, I have so much of this that if you had $1 billion, you would lose your respect for the dollar or the $10 or $20. It becomes meaningless to you. And that's how it is I think for women, like, honestly speaking, they have so many options, so much free attention, so many guys DMing them, trying to talk to them, that the traditional cold approach and trying to flirt with a girl at a bar. And again, I'm sure there's gonna be people listening to this and watching this now that'll completely disagree with me and say, "Oh, this is the wrong approach." I'm not saying it's the correct approach. I'm just simply giving you the backstory as to why guys are kind of giving up on that concept. It's an old school thing.
See, the thing is that you hit a really good point, because women don't see as much value in it anymore because they have an abundance of choices. It's easy for women to criticize and say, oh, this guy's not the right guy. Guy B is not the right guy. Guy C is not the right guy. They're the ones who are getting approached. They have all the options. They get all the DMs. All
the new
text
version
messages.
of approach is DMs. That's the new version. That's the modern day version of approaching. The old school way is kind of outdated. Yeah, you could still do it and still have some results from it. But realistically speaking, if assuming a woman's attractive, if you were to look into her DMs, you would be like blown away by how many guys are getting at her daily.
Keep in mind, you have the Tinders of the world, the Bumbles of the world, Hinge, all these other dating apps. But one of the biggest dating apps is Instagram.
Yeah,
how many DMs these ladies get? I've seen girls show me a pack of DMs that they get. Some get 20, 30 DMs, some hundreds. It's insane.
What I see now also is like women will screenshot and repost guys trying to get at them. Like, actually, earlier today, this girl posted a story of a guy like DMing her this whole like novel. Like, he wrote her paragraphs. And did she respect it and say, oh, yeah, sure, let's go on a date? No, she screenshotted this guy, made a fool out of him, and posted it on her story and embarrassed her. So that's, again, the modern version of getting rejected. Before, it used to be like, oh, you approach a woman, she wasn't interested, you felt bad. Now, you can't even write to them because they're going to screenshot it and post it on their story and embarrass you. It's really bad. It's getting really bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible that they do that, but
the repercussions, I guess that's another way to kind of like position this, is like, I think guys are aware that like there's certain repercussions. If you take your chance and it works out, great. But there's a high likelihood that she's gonna reject it, ignore it. Imagine like you write to a girl and she reposts and puts it on her story.
It's over, guys. When she
And
does
your
that,
handle's there and everything you wrote there. It's crazy.
when she does that, or she leaves you on read, or she doesn't even look at your message, it's over.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
So again,
move on.
what does it come down to? It's like effort versus reward. Nobody's going to put lots of effort. And it's ironic because hearing myself say this, women complain all the time, like, I want a guy that puts effort into me. I want a guy that really tries. And like, again, what women say and what they do is two completely different things. Never take what a woman says at face value because it's like they have two parts of their brain. Like they say one thing, they do another thing. I've learned never listen to what she says, watch what she does. Her actions, what she actually does, her dating history, her that's what you should be really watching. What she says is nonsense most of the time.
The thing is that women are getting DM'd, hit on by all these guys, but she's waiting for the guy that she wants. And if she doesn't have the guy that she wants in her DMs or texting her, calling her, meeting up with her, it's not going to work out because she already has in mind a guy that she wants, that she sees herself with in the future. And on that note, before we go further, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. We just started up here on the podcast, guys. We love your support. We know that this material that we're discussing here is not going to sit well with everyone. Some of this is not easy to say in a good way. It's maybe looked in a bad light, but we have good intentions. We're here to help both men and women. Of course, this is a male improvement podcast, but everyone should learn and will learn from this one way or another. So let's continue. Another reason why men don't approach women, they're not that good with conversation. And I blame that on them just being on their phones, not communicating in person. I'm sure the last few years with how we've been at home with, coronavirus and things like that have impacted that as well. Just not the personal connection in public.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, like what you said with the phones, I think women are like, they're disconnected from what's going on in front of them because everything they need is on their phone. The validation, the attention, the DMs, it's like a high for them. Imagine going into your phone. Most guys will never experience this. Imagine going into your phone and there's like 50 DMs daily. Let me take you out. Let me take you out. Let me pay for you. Let me Venmo you. Let me take you out for dinner. Just give me a chance. What do you think that does psychologically to them? You think that it puts them in a rational state of mind? No, it's going to boost their ego to a point where. Why do you have women nowadays that oh, I'm a queen, I know my worth? I understand where this is all coming from because they get so much attention and validation that it inflates their sense of quote unquote self-worth. I would just like to remind those women that 99.99% of those guys are only getting at you for sexual relationships.
Absolutely.
If you were to kind of dissect how many of those guys are actually going to really, and it's funny, right? Because we're talking about it like a guy's point of view, right? What do women complain the most about? Like, oh, he didn't take me seriously. He didn't put enough effort in. What they're really conveying, in my opinion, because women don't really communicate directly, they communicate indirectly. Like men should really communicate in a direct fashion. Women traditionally will communicate indirectly. They expect you to like listen to them and understand what they're trying to say. The way I understand it is I think that women are their version of it is they're tired of just like sleeping with guys, but those guys that they're attracted to, that they're sleeping with, are not giving them the long-term relationship, the commitment. I think that's fair to say, right?
That is fair to say. The thing is, though, that the way women approach, let's say, social media, let's say Instagram, what they post, what they say, they approach in that format using Instagram, maybe using a social media app or just their daily life. That's what they attract. It's what they attract. So what can you expect? If you're posting bikini pics all the time or provocative pics all the time, what do you expect?
Yeah.
You're going to have guys that are looking at you to get sex.
How dare you?
It's true. It is what it is. And again, there's not a better way to say it. That's really the best way to say it. It sounds rough, but hey, you go about it that route and you have to accept the consequences for those actions.
I think that women understand, as much as they hate hearing it and they say like, "Oh, you're so shallow." I really think women understand that their looks, their beauty, their body is their value to guys. I think they understand that. Why is it that you have 20-year-old women getting BBLs and Botox and nose jobs and boob jobs? They know that their looks are their biggest asset. They don't like it being told to them, because anytime you say to a woman like, guys care about looks, oh, that's all you want. Oh, you're so shallow. We don't decide what attracts us. The same way women don't wake up in the morning and decide what they're attracted to. We can't pick and choose what we're attracted to. It's a natural thing. It's a natural phenomenon. You know what I mean? So
it's surprising that women act surprised about the way guys go about this, because again,
women know that their looks are their value and they use it to their advantage. Women are hypergamous. We said this on another episode. They're always going to date up and up and up and try to get the best guy that they can get, right? That's the way it tends to go. And unfortunately, the downside to that is that the higher you go up in dating in guys, I'm sorry to tell you, the higher end guys are not going to be the loyal ones that are going to take you seriously and put effort into you and be loyal to you. Because the higher you get on the scale with guys, what's the saying? A guy is as faithful as his options.
Yes.
The average guy's not going to cheat. The below average guy's not going to cheat. He doesn't even have the option to cheat. But once these women once they reach their like peak hypergamy and they get to those guys that are the best looking, the tallest, that make the most money, that are the most successful, they are not going to be loyal to you. Never.
That's the thing. Just as a woman, be straightforward. And that's going to take me into another reason why men don't approach women is they just play hard to get. Why are you playing hard to get?
In general, there's a lot of game playing. Yeah.
Too many mind games, too much game playing. You're playing hard to get. Be upfront with what you want. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, that due to the fact that women have all these options, they're getting all these text DMs. I'm sure they're getting calls, Snapchats, Tinders, everything. People coming up to them in public to try to take them out on a date. It's just like they're all over the place. And when you're all over the place, you don't know what you want. So you have to be straightforward. If a guy comes up to you and there's no connection there or there's no interest there, you let him know, hey, sorry, but I'm not interested. I'm looking in a different direction. I'm looking at someone else. It'll save that guy a headache, time, energy, spending money on you for no reason. But also it'll save you as a woman the headache. If you're looking for a guy, a specific type of guy that's going to lock you down, take care of you, provide for you, give you money, etc., lock you down in marriage potentially, cut it out, because you're wasting time. You're wasting time and you're going in circles with every guy. It's just starting a new circle, one after another, after another, after another. The thing is, though, that women crave the attention. So for them to give that up is pretty difficult.
I will say this. This is why guys have to communicate directly with women. How do you avoid the friend zone? How do you avoid having time and money wasted on these dinner dates and all this BS, right? You're better off communicating right from the get-go what you want. I think women find it attractive when a guy is direct. Even if she doesn't find it attractive, at least you'll know right from the start, am I going to get what I want from out of this or not? The worst thing you could do as a guy is beat around the bush, play friendly, play the friend, stick around, hope that she's going to... That does not work. I think from my experience, the longer you stay around a female, her attraction will eventually decrease to a point where you will have no chance of ever having her as a partner. And unfortunately, again, how do guys end up in the friend zone? They're attracted to her. The girl just sees him as a friend, and they stay around and they stay around and they pay for dates and they give her attention, and you give out all your resources and you get nowhere with it. You're better off communicating right from the get-go what your intentions are. She rejects you. Cool. No hard feelings. Move on to the next one.
There's many choices out there. As Rob said, doesn't work with one, you move on to the next one. It's unfortunate because, of course, you'd want it to work out with that person if that's the person you're approaching, you're trying to go after. But the thing is that if you're giving your resources and money and taking her out for dinners and all that we've talked about, and she's not reciprocating that, my friend, she does not like you. She is not interested in you. Don't waste your time and move on, because there could be something better out there that you're missing on.
I'm currently reading Rollo Tomasi's Rational Male. Probably one of the most important books you could buy as a man right now. The book's like $20 on Amazon. I highly suggest you go buy it. I'm going to quote something he said in this book. He said that attraction is non-negotiable. There is nothing you could do to negotiate attraction. And I think as guys, sometimes we think we can get her attracted by spending a lot of time with her and doing nice things for her and taking her out to eat. And maybe eventually she'll see that I'm attractive. Absolutely not. Women know within like seconds, minutes, whether they're going to sleep with you or not. Spending massive amounts of time with them thinking like, oh, well, if I take her out to dinners and I show her a lifestyle and like provide for her, that'll somehow build attraction. No, if anything, it'll do the complete opposite.
And what kind of guys are that? Those are nice guys. And what happens to nice guys? Nice guys finish
Last.
So again,
actually, another quote. Steph is cold. Nice guys don't finish last. Nice guys don't even get to finish the race.
there you go. And shout out to Rollo and Steph is cold. A lot of respect for you guys.
We've been watching these guys for like 2+ years. Great channels. I highly recommend you subscribe to both of them.
Yeah, we've watched them and they're great. And a lot of guys out there should be watching these guys, definitely. So, just before we wrap up, there's one important aspect to look at when men are approaching women. And the reason why they don't approach women as well. Want to know what it is? Wondering?
Mm-hmm.
Creep shaming. Guy goes up to a girl. Oh, don't bother me. I'm busy. Go away. Oh, you're a creep. Guys don't want to get caught up in some harassment nonsense because it's just such a headache. And when girls act that way, act so negatively to being approached, whether in public, whether through DM, etc., and they get rejected like that, it just makes guys want to give up totally. So for women wondering why they don't get approached by men, well, there you go. Maybe change your attitude a little bit. Give the guy a shot, and you never know what you find out the more you get to know that person.
I'll end the episode by saying this. Women don't sleep with the guy that's making all the effort and trying to please her and pay for her and impress her. She'll go on a date with that guy and get the free dinner and the free attention and the free validation. And when that guy leaves, she's going to go and sleep with the guy that put in zero effort. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you on the next one.
Support the channel, guys. Like, subscribe, and support.